Hi, my name is Cameron. I'm a senior at Greensbury Salem High School. I'm a member of the hockey and golf team here. After high school, I plan on going to West Virginia for sports medicine or sports management.
Hi, my name is Charles Johnson. I'm a senior at Greensburg Salem High School. I run track and cross country. My future plans after high school are I plan on going to a four-year college for biomedical engineering, and I do plan on playing sports in college. So this is our working prototype. We called it the machine. Basically, it's just a ball valve where there's a washer sitting right here, and the ball sits perfectly in the hole of the washer, which clogs it. And then when you tip it the other way, and the way blood is supposed to flow this way, the paper clip catches the ball, and there's area around the ball for the blood to flow through. All right, so one of our other prototypes that didn't work is our straw valve. So basically, my thought process when building this was the tension of the straws would keep the hole closed, and then when you pumped water through the opening in the straws, it would be enough pressure to open it up. And then to seal the straws to make sure that water didn't go through the straws, I put hot glue on the tops of these, and then on the inside, I also glued the tops of the straws in there too. And then the seal around the straws, there's a rubber band in there around the finger of a glove, and the glove then comes up and wraps around the top of the tube, so that way any water that would try to go through that gap, it would just get caught in the balloon. But that didn't work just because the straws aren't strong enough. There's not enough tension on the straws to keep the hole closed, and anytime you open the hole, it would just stay open and it wouldn't shut because the straws aren't strong enough.
So our third prototype, we named it Hannah. It's an inside joke in our class, but it's kind of similar to the ball valve idea. So what we did was we took our tube and then we cut the end off of a pipette, the part that you squeeze, and we poked a little hole in it, and we put in a column end cap here. Now it's hard to see, but it's just this little yellow piece here. So it has a big hole on the inside and then a little smaller hole on the outside. And so our thought process is that if the ball was able to sit on the big hole of this column end piece, that water wouldn't be able to flow through. So it prevents opposite blood flow. And then when you turn it over, you can put water through this tube here, the ball falls down. We were able to reshape the end of this pipette a little bit so that the ball doesn't fall the whole way through. And so in theory, blood should be able to flow through this top part, out the big hole and around the ball. And while blood does flow this way, issue we had is that the hole on this end is so small that when you have high amounts of pressure, water doesn't flow through the top. It kind of rolls off to the side. And you'll see that when we demonstrate it with actual water. But when we used a small syringe, we were able to put water through the top. So while it might not be the best for an artificial heart valve, it could work for something better like an artery that needs replaced. And then when the ball does stop most of the water, and when water hits like this below the ball, it does stop leaking. However, it does have a little bit of drip when water is above this level.
So this is our ball valve for the machine that actually does work. And so when I put water going this way, the way that blood is supposed to flow, you can see it flows perfectly fine around the ball, around the paper clip, and out the tube. But when the water has to go the other way, you can see that it fills it up. And there is a small amount of drip in there, but that can be easily fixed as long as providing that we have more time and more resources. All right, so this was our other prototype, which was the straw valve. And when I put water going this way, which is the way that water is supposed to flow, you just open these straws up and there's a hole in there where it's supposed to flow.
you can see that only a little bit of water does go through, just because the hole is so small, which is one error that's in this prototype. And then going the other way, the way that blood is not supposed to flow, you can see it does a pretty good job at stopping it, but there is a good amount of leakage. And one interesting thing about this is once the water gets past the straws, it'll stop leaking just because the balloon catches all the rest of the water. So you can see that the water stopped to flow out of it, which means the balloon aspect of the straw valve was correct, but not the whole thing.
So this is our third and final prototype, Hannah. So like I said before, in theory, the ball should sit on this end piece and stop water flow. And like I said, there is a little issue. So the hole up top here is smaller. It's smaller than the hole on the inside. So as you see, when we turn on the sink, it'll have water pressure that when you put the tube under the way the blood is supposed to flow, you do have some water that comes out the inside of the tube, but you do have a lot of water that just rolls off the side because too much is trying to go into the hole at one time. And then when we look at how well it stops opposite flow, when we fill up the tube, it does a good job. You do have some slight drippage, but what we'll see in a second here, as blood is dripping out of this artificial valve, once it hits this yellow piece, it should stop because the water level is below the hole. So what I think is wrong here is that the ball just isn't sitting right on this end piece, and that's something that can be fixed with different resources and more time. So as I said before, as you saw, the hole up top is too small for high amounts of pressure. So when we tested it, what we found was that if you put a syringe up top and you have a little bit of pressure, you do have water that comes out the tube and doesn't roll across the side. So it does work, but just not with high amounts of pressure. So just to wrap things up, we have 3 prototypes, and while one of them works extremely well, we have 2 that we believe with a little bit more time and different resources would make sufficient artificial heart valves for the future.